Oh, hello there. Welcome to First Chapter Fridays with the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. Every week we'll read the first section of a teen book and then challenge you to read the rest. This week I'm reading The Pig Scrolls by Gryllus the Pig by Paul Shipton. Invocation. Tell us, O Muse, of the fall of Troy, of the one named Gryllus, a crafty boy. For many years he did not see home. I'll tell you more in this epic poem. Didum, 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 dida. Something very far. Hey, Calliope, silver-tongued muse of the epic poetry? Gryllus calling. Are you there or what? Because if you're going to tell this whole thing in verse, I'm gonna need a little bit of help. Hello? Oh, this stuff is for a game of Homeric heroes. I'm just going to rattle off what happened. No frills, and no fancy poetic meter. And if the muses don't like it, they can lump it. All right, then, settle in and clear out your ear holes for Book 1. A mighty hero is brought down in the woods by a bunch of nitwits. I woke up nice and slow, just checking off the mini chores that weren't on the cards for me this fine sunny day. So much time, so little to do. You know how I live high on the hog, Gryllus, my old son? I grunted to myself. Do even the immortal gods of Olympus have it sweeter? Well, yes, probably, but things weren't half bad for me either. I was out in the woods, you know, trees, bushes, and grass, and all of that. The birds chirping merrily all over the place, just chirp, chirp, chirping from dawn onward, without a single thought in their little feather-brain heads that other occupants of the woods might actually want to sleep in. No, every day they're up and about, just chirping and chirping and Oh, hold on. There were no birds chirping today. The woods were silent. Some folks might have been bothered trying to work out why. Me, I just enjoy the chirp-free peace and quiet while I had a leisurely breakfast of acorns and roots, the woodland platter. The only other creature I spotted was a little fluffy-tailed squirrel, gripping an acorn in its tiny front paws. That squirrel had life figured out, I can tell you. That it was managing just fine without a name or a job or an informed opinion on why the sun is driven around the earth. It never fretted about money or time or new trends in rodent fashion. It never had to sort through the thoughts in its brain, all squabbling to be the one to reach its mouth. Right then, I bet the only thought that was rattling around in the little squirrel's skull. Nuts! That was all. Nuts! It was beautiful in its simplicity. Yes, well, it was time old Nutbrain received a lesson in natural law. I charged forward and burst through the thicket, aiming myself at the stash of nuts with a fearsome grunt. The squirrel spiraled up the nearest tree and chittered angrily from the lower branches. It was only then that a gasp let me know someone else was there. It was a teenage lad, the first person I'd seen in ages. Over on the other side of the clearing. Puzzlement crossed the big lad's face like a cloud across the moon on a night when the moon is looking especially puzzled. He stepped forward and called, "Suey." It was the sort of call you do out on the farmstead to herd the pigs. A bit rude, you reckon? Well, yes, but technically he was on the right track. I am something of a pig. It's not just that I stink to high Olympus, or that when I eat I make noises such as might be heard in the general vicinity of an ox rear end. No, I would say the snout, hooves, and little pink curly tail also have something to do with my overall porcine quality. I am a pig, okay? A wallow in the mud, stick your snout in a trough, real-life big fat pig. Oink, oink, oink. But there are pigs and there are pigs. See, I'm clearly not a wild boar, or the kind most sensible folk would prefer not to encounter out here in the woods. The boy's thoughts were as obvious as if they had been written across his forehead, assuming you could read, which I couldn't. And they were, what's a farm pig like this doing in the woods? Here, piggy pig, suey, the lad continued. It left something to be desired as instructions go. In an attempt to raise the tone, I burped and said, "What are you looking at, sonny boy?" Obviously, talking pigs were in short supply in these parts of rural Thessaly. The kid's eyes went as wide and round as two Athenian saucers, the extra wide and round kind. His lips flapped, but produced only an astonished squawk. "Go on," I said. "Beat it!" And then I went back to my grub. The lad wasn't the brightest, clearly several Spartans short of a full 300, but I'll say this for him. He took my advice and ran away without even a fare thee well. What has become of the youth today? I thought sadly as I gobbled some more acorns. Still, this little social encounter had broken up the interlude between my morning snack and my late morning snooze nicely. I didn't think anything more about it until I heard the shouting and pounding of feet through the forest. Something about the noise reminded me of how my crewmates used to carry on, back when I was one of you lot, which is to say human. It wasn't a pleasant memory. They were always charging all over the place and shouting and waving spears and such. The sort of thing can give you a tense, nervous headache. Suddenly, 4 or 5 men crashed into the clearing. They were all dressed in a rugged outdoor gear, and yes, they were all carrying spears. There was a lot of gruff shouting. The bearded man in front of me of the hunting party pointed his spear in my direction and yelled, "There it be!" Under other circumstances, I would have shot him down with one of my more sarcastic comments. But the only thing that sprang to my mind in this occasion was, "Eek!" And that didn't have quite the cutting, razor-sharp effect I was after. So I turned and ran. If you would like to hear the rest of Gryllus the Pig's story, you'll need to read The Pig Scrolls by Paul Shipton. You can give us a call and pick it up at any of our 14 library locations, or check it out online through Overdrive and Libby. Happy Friday!